Welcome to our Student Spotlight series. My name is Judith Caffrey and I work in the Student Recruitment Team here in Maynooth University. Today we're chatting to Amie Hughes. It's our Student Spotlight series where we put our current students under the spotlight and talk to them about the CAO, their choice of course in Maynooth University and their plans for graduation. So Amie, where are you from in the world and why did you find your way to Maynooth?
So I'm from Trim in Meath. Found my way to Maynooth for a couple of reasons. I did a PLC in jumping and I always kind of wanted to go to Maynooth. I remember as a kid driving past the library and going, oh, that looks really cool. So I really enjoyed Maynooth. There's a lot of things that stood out to me. Their QQI acceptance was one of them, like how big they were in QQI students. So that's one of the reasons I was really forward to going to Maynooth. And also it was really close to home. I'm very much a family person, so I wanted to make sure I could be close and I could drive up to college or commute up to college, and I can do that now. So I'm really happy. Yeah.
So it's close and it also suited in terms of the location. But just backtrack a little bit. You went to Dunboyne and you did a PLC course there. Did you do the Leaving Cert before that?
So I did my leaving cert in, oh my goodness, 2023, 2022, 2022. I graduated. That's a long time ago. So I did that then, and then I went off after. I did get really good points in my leaving cert. It wasn't that I did a PLC just because I didn't get, and I think that's the stigma around it. I remember telling my parents, "Oh, I'm going to do PLC," and they were like, "Oh my God, why? Like you didn't fail your leaving cert yet?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, I didn't fail. I want to do it." And now there are people who are promoting PLCs to all their friends because they've seen how beneficial it was. But no, I wanted to do the PLC. I wanted to have kind of maybe a stable environment then to go into college that, oh, I understand what's being taught. I can just use the information instead of trying to learn. Because I saw my friends when I went into first year law going, how do we write an essay? What's word processing? How do we do a speech? And I was lucky enough that I had all those skills from Dunboyne because I did liberal arts. So I covered history and politics and philosophy. And I think that was a good base for me to go into the law then after.
Very good. So it gave you a set of skills that you were maybe at an advanced level compared to
Yeah.
the other students that were coming into first year there. Yeah. So did you go straight into the LLB degree or did you take another pathway to where you are
No.
now?
Dude, I could never do anything normal during the system. No. So when I first filled out my CAO when I was in sixth year, I was like, I'd love to be a business teacher. So filling out my CAO, put down business as my number one, put down entrepreneurship, I think is my number two. And I got my first choice, I got business. And I remember sitting at the kitchen table going, I don't really want to be a business teacher. So I was like, I'll defer it, see how I feel, and then I'll go do my PLC. So I deferred it because you always have that option, deferring it and then putting it as your number one place when you come back, and then you get that course because you're on their list. And I remember ringing Maynooth and saying, like, can I defer it? And they were like, hey, I just pop it down or whatever. And I did. And then I went and did my PLC and I realized that I actually didn't want to do it. So my first choice then on my PLC or my PLC CAO, which same thing, you do your CAO through the PLC as well. And I remember putting down ARCS number two. I think I put the no, I put the MH502 program, which is law with something else. And I was determined I wanted to do law and criminology. I love criminology. So I put that as my number one, put the LLB as number two, which you can see went really well beside me. And then I put arts as my number three. I went in my first year to law and criminology. I sat in the car with my dad and I was like, I'm gonna love the criminology and hate the law, and that's okay. I'll just push through. Came out my first day and I was like, I want to do law. Like I
Right.
loved the theory based law. Where I feel criminology, for me anyway, was just a bit more like mixed. And that's great. A lot of people love that. I didn't. I love the fact with law, there's a right and a wrong. And that to me
It's
was a bit,
binary and
yeah,
there's an answer. Yeah.
very. So I loved that. And I went off then and I just transferred my second year to the LLB and transferred straight in. That's another reason Maynooth was great for me. There's so many pathways and flexible areas that you can literally just move as you wish.
That's an advantage, isn't it? You don't have to commit for the first few weeks and you can like how could you possibly know in school or even from a PLC, maybe if you haven't done that's one that's linked, how or what will be involved in law or criminology. They're not subjects that you can study in school.
No.
But it sounds like you were pretty sure, even though I know business was your first iteration, shall we say, but you were pretty sure about what you wanted to study. Were there subjects in school that you just thought, yeah, I'd love to continue on with, or was that what determined your
Yeah.
CAO? Or- yeah.
I was very English and history based, and I think that was part of my thing. Very English and history. I hated maths. I hated Irish. I loved sitting down and writing essays, and I loved history for the memory of it. And now looking back, it makes sense that I loved the memory of history because that's exactly what law is. It's just memorizing cases. Yeah, I don't like I see a lot of my friends as well. I guess like something that's so important. I see a lot of my friends are like, oh, I loved geography and history, so I'm going to do geography and history in college. And I'm like,
Mm.
oh, but do you want to work in that area? Like, would I be a teacher? And they're like, no. And you kind of have to go, oh, it's going to be like you want to, I guess, promote those skills. Like you're saying, you want to do something that you liked in school, but I guess adding on to it in college.
Mhm.
I think that was really important for me picking something, not just that I liked. Like if I liked it, I would have done English and history in college. I really would have. I got to sit in on a history lecture 2 weeks ago and I was glued to it. I loved it, but it's not what I'd love to do as a career.
Yeah.
So I think that was part of my thing. But yeah, I was very much a writer. I think it stayed.
So do you think then, in terms of the content of the course, clearly there's a lot of reading, a lot of when you mentioned memorizing, I presume there's more to law than memorizing cases, but it sounds like yeah, it's definitely a lot of time you would spend in that kind of environment of in the library. How does a day progress in terms and indeed the week in terms of lectures and tutorials and what you have to do as a student?
Yeah, I think law is under the stigma of you're sitting down reading 24/7. And look, every degree is probably going to be at some point the exact same. One thing I have to say I really liked about it, and I've said this to everyone, is the practical with the theory. And that to me was really important. So it's not just like you can go in and study law, but it's actually doing it that's the hard part and applying it. So even my first year modules, we had a mock trial where you got to go in and dress up in your suits and you felt really posh, and then you got to go in and do your court case in front of a barrister. And that to me was like, oh, I really love to do this as a
Is that
career.
moot court? Is that what that is?
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was that was mock trial, and then second year I did moot court, which is like an appeals court.
Okay.
So think of your mock trial as like your actual trial first, and then your moot court is your appeals court. And I've actually gone on now to represent Maynooth in the national moot court competition, which I wouldn't have done had I not done it through my course.
Excellent.
Um,
Yeah.
the lectures wise, yeah, it definitely mixes. It depends what you pick. So, like for me in first year, obviously you don't get any choice modules in your first year, but it was fairly spaced out. I think I got a Friday off, which was really nice. Second year then I think was quite similar. I got to pick some of my modules. So I did the likes of EU law, and I did, oh my goodness, I can't really remember. It's been that long. It's been a year and I'm ranked
Been a
even
lot
for
of
this year.
content either.
But even like this year, I got to pick medical law and media law, and last year I got to do really fun modules in like philosophy with law, which kind of tied
Mm.
back to my PLC. So that was very fun, just to do something different. So yeah, you get to do so many different things. I think my like if you've the gaps, they fill in with your tutorials, so you don't really feel it.
So you'll have obviously core content that you'll need to study, and indeed in first year nobody's expected to study law before, so it's very much from a beginner level, I suppose. And then as you go progress through each year, you have more options, and that's the
Yeah.
sense that I'm getting. Yeah, while there would still be kind of core, I guess, elements that you would
Oh
need to
yeah.
take. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then
So even
more
like
options.
exactly. My core elements, say last year, would have been constitutional law and criminal law. Like you have to do those, and you have to do them then if you'd like sit your FE1s to be a solicitor. So that's why they're the
Yeah.
core ones. And then even this year, I have equity and trusts, which is your financial law and your land law. And then everything else is a choice to see what you'd like to maybe work in the field. So yeah, no, absolutely.
And is there much continuous assessment? Are you working with others in your class and group projects? Does it work like that, or is it a lot of end of semester exams?
I think law is a mix, and it definitely depends on what subjects you pick as well. So even for me, I had the likes of law of obligations, which is kind of like contract and tort, which is like contract and negligence together. And I had that, and you could pick whether you want to be in a group project or want to be on your own. And then same goes for those practical subjects I talked about, like that negotiation. I did negotiations this year, and that was a group of 5 people that you were just randomly
Mhm.
put with, which is great because look, the workplace is going to be like that, so you have to develop that. Same my mock trial in first year, same my mid court in second year. You're all mixed when it comes to your partners. And then there is a lot of exams as well, but it is quite balanced. And I feel like when those exams come, you are quite well prepared for them.
What about a work placement? Is that an option? Or, in terms of like putting the skills that you're learning into, and as you mentioned earlier, that there is a mix of practice as well as theory. So
Yeah.
how does that how is that presented in your course?
Yeah, so third year for us is an option year. So you can continue on with your studies like I'm doing, or you can go on Erasmus, or you can go on a study abroad or a work abroad program or a work placement, sorry, program. I can't speak. um, your study abroad, I've had a lot of friends go study abroad. One of my best friends right now is in Italy and he is loving life. And I've
Is
other
he
friends that
studying
are
law like you would be studying here,
he's
or what?
studying business, but I have two
Okay.
friends in Vienna who are studying law. So
Okay.
like there's a lot of there's so much mix of people who are studying stuff across the board. And one of my good friends is doing BCL and she's also, I think, somewhere she's in Poland, I think. So like everyone's just mixed. And then work placement wise, I just didn't choose to do it because for me, I just wanted to continue on in college. I was enjoying Minute too much. I didn't want to leave. So I just stayed. But work placement then, I have a couple of friends who are saying A&L goodbye. Different law firms, a lot of the big five would take in placement students. They're really good with that. Matson have taken in students, Mason Hayes. Like so you do get a really broad mix of people going to different firms.
But they will, and obviously those work placements are competitive, so they have to apply for them, and there's a placement office in the university that would assist students. In terms of the fact that you're here and you're continuing on with the course and they're not here, how
Mm.
does that, because they're going to come back into their final year just like you, aren't they? They're not going to lose any time by taking that year away. So how do you know how does that work then in terms of the content that you've covered versus what
Yeah.
they may not have covered?
Yeah, so for BCL students, what happens is they come back in and their course is usually 3 years. So they're taking that third year to
Yeah,
go off. So what they do then is they come back and they have what's essentially like third year again. So they'll do all those subjects again in third year. For LLB students, it is slightly different. And I think that's
yeah,
maybe what pushed my decision. For LLB students, it's a 4 year course anyway. So if you take that third year and you don't do modules, so say my core modules this year, like equity and trust and land law, there'd be 4 or 5 hour lectures a week and then maybe 5 hours tutorials across the semester. What they'll have to do is then when they come back for their final year, they'll have to sit those modules. So it's the exact same as it was before. They'll just have to take additional modules to match what ones they might have matched from their core last year.
okay. So they'll, yeah, as you say, they need to cover that core content if they want to
Yeah.
continue on to do further study in the King's Inns or the Law Society. Um, So is it everything that you dreamed it would be, or are you, when you think back to when you were making your CAO application, are you satisfied? Are you surprised by anything in terms of the course and indeed your
No,
time
do
at
you know
Maynooth?
what? I think I'm a very lucky position. I have so much happening for me in college. And I think there's another part to it. I think putting yourself out there and doing stuff and getting involved is where you're going to have an amazing time in college. And I think that was it for me. I was really nervous of like, oh my God, I won't make friends or I'll be on my own. And I think secondary school for me, I wasn't a secondary school person. Like I'd be the first person to say it. I didn't really enjoy secondary school. I think it was the whole thing of maybe just someone constantly watching over your shoulder, telling you what to do and telling you where to go. And I think when I hit sixth year, I was like, oh, I just want to be on my own. And I think that's normal for a lot of students. And I don't think it's talked about very often of like, sometimes you just don't like secondary and that's okay. But that
Yeah.
didn't mean that college wasn't for me. And I loved, like I love university. I love being on my own. I love having my own kind of like conscience and that if I want to do something, I can do it. If I want to go somewhere, I can do it. If I want to speak to a lecturer, I can just go and ask for his office hours and speak to him. Like, so there's a lot of things like that that I really loved. It has exceeded my expectations, absolutely. And that's not in a
Mm.
student perspective kind of bragging. That's in a genuine, I didn't think I'd love it as much as I do. And even the talk to my final year next year is kind of sad to me because I'm like, I don't really want to go. But I think it is because I put myself out there so much and I got so much support from everyone, like whether that be the admissions office and my lecturers and the School of Law. I've never felt unsupported by anyone.
That's brilliant to hear. And in terms of those clubs and societies, like I know you're obviously very busy with your course and indeed your own life as well, but could you give us a flavor of what you joined, what you're involved in?
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to have co-founded the Women in Law Society in Maynooth last year, and I
Oh, well
organized
done.
the very, thank Thank you. I organized the very first women's moot court. That was so exciting to me. Like that whole idea of just bringing women together and organizing it myself was huge. So I'm still on the Law Society this year. I did negotiations last year in the Law Society, so I stayed on. I organized their negotiation competition, and this year we organized Law Ball, and it's the first year ever we've had so much interest that we sold out in about 2 hours of tickets. So that was
Which,
yesterday. So I'm still a little bit tired, but
oh my
no,
goodness.
I love the clubs and societies. I love getting involved. I think that's a big thing. Like you're gonna meet so many people. I think that's the difference from school as well. Like school, you're put in a room with 20 people who are completely different. And college, you're not. You're put in a room of the exact same people. And if you don't like those people, that's fine. You can join a club maybe that you'll like those people. Or a society like Maynooth has a million. There's tea, Disney, history, biology, law, like the world's your oyster. And you don't need to be a law student to join the law soc, same as you don't need to be a history student to join the history soc.
Very
So I
good.
think that's something that really drew me to those.
What are you thinking then when you graduate? Like, is there a specific area of law that's really hit home with you that you love and that you want to continue with?
I never really know what the answer is to this, and I think that's fairly normal. I'm
Yeah.
still not 100% sure what my answer is, but I love law. I definitely would like to stay in it. I think I work in so many different industries that I've gotten a taste of so many different types of work that I've been spoiled, and I never really know. My ideal would be to go into a barrister and do employment law, or not employment, sorry, well, employment and education. I've seen a lot of stuff happen where I just thought it was unfair, and I'd love to be the person to stand up and look. I've seen it across the board with a lot of people that you might not change everyone's lives in law, but if you change one person's life, that's pretty good, I think, because that's their whole life changed. And it's so easy to do. So I think maybe education law would be something I'd be really interested in, employment law. I had a wonderful employment law lecturer who I was glued
Yes,
to.
you're done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't be? He's very famous, but no, it was a brilliant lecture and I really enjoyed the module. I actually didn't think I'd enjoy it as much as I did. Or medical law. I really do like medical law. So I don't know, but saying that, every day I feel like I have a new answer. I really do. And that's not a bad thing. I'm
That's
lucky
not a
enough to
bad
work with
thing.
A&L as their brand ambassador, and they've given me a really good look in corporate law and commercial law. And that's really kind of changed my opinion as well. So
Yeah.
where the wind goes, I'll lead.
Well, it's interesting that the kind of the synthesis of your business and your law that that those different things can somehow tie together as well in terms of what might be a potential route
It's
for
weird,
you.
yeah. I didn't think of that.
Um, a final piece of advice, or is there anything that springs to mind that you might say to yourself at that stage if you were still in school filling out your CAO application? Is there anything that you'd like to pass on?
The biggest piece of advice I'll ever give to a student is one, don't listen to your friends. Please make your own choices. I've seen so many of my friends go, oh, I'm going to do this course because everyone else is doing it. And you know what? If I did that, I wouldn't be half as happy as I am now. And going my own route, and like it's very nerve-wracking going for a PLC on your own because you're on your own. Like you're not with your friends from school. You've no idea where you're going, and you're going completely separate paths. And sometimes you're looked down on for a path like that. And I really was, by a lot of people around me, not my family or my friends, but a lot of education around me kind of looked down on me for that. And I was quite sad about it. And you know what? I'm glad I did it. Nothing changed. And all I did was succeed from it. So I think going your own route is the best advice I can give. And there's always a back door into absolutely everything. You just have to look hard enough to find it. But with Maynooth, I didn't actually have to look quite hard, so it was okay.
Brilliant. Amy, thanks. It's been a pleasure talking to you today.
Thank you so much, Judah. You too.